for sure, but I'm ready for another round. You're talking shit, don't hear a sound. Take a hit and pass around. Buy yourself drunk like, and finally don't give a fuck. 'Cause I'm breaking all the rules tonight. Not going down without a fight. As long as I'm still breathing, doesn't matter how hard you might try. You can't take this freedom. Might try. You can't take this freedom.
Hey, this is the Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. I apologize for the technical difficulties today. We've been playing around with the format a little bit, and when I started it up, I still had the live stream set to unlisted, so nobody joined. So then I started it and restarted it again, and then you guys all joined, and so everything's been messed about. So let me know if you guys can hear me at the moment, because I'm not quite sure if this is working now. So let's see. If anybody can hear me, just say the Dukes of Hazzard is rad, right? Okay, let's see. Cool. So, good. Cool. It's working. Fantastic. Good. So, I'm trying something new this week, and it's something I wanted to try for a while, just to change the format up a little bit. Go to something where we're actually streaming this onto YouTube and also onto Facebook and Twitter. Although I suspect everybody's going to be on the YouTube feed, because that's where we go to, and a lot of the people who watch the live stream that's where they are, unless there's somebody new. Dukes something. Thank you, Rodrigo. So yeah, so everybody's up and running. Good, everything's cool. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks for your patience. I stopped the live stream and started up again, and it's always a problem. One of the criticisms I got in the past for one of the live streams was somebody says they're tired of seeing me stand up all the time. So this week I thought I would try to move things around a little bit, so I'm sitting down, and I'm still not quite sure if I like it, but we'll give it a try. All right, so CH Development, hey, how's it going? Texture Tree, hey, how are you? Hussein, you're here, cool, thanks. Divyanshu, how's it going? Marwin, Gianluca, hey, Gianluca Cesana, you have the coolest name. Azimuth, hey, how's it going? Rodrigo, third. So let's see, who else? Abanoob, ooh, about to start. Yep. So CH Development, Divyanshu, cool. So this week has been an interesting week. This was a week where I decided to stop doing the daily videos. So on Wednesday I did my final daily video, which is kind of strange. I'll talk about that in a minute. Also, just a little bit of housekeeping. We probably won't do the live stream next week because it's Good Friday and it's a holiday, so we probably won't do one next week. But yeah, this is the week where I decided to do decided to stop doing the daily video. And almost as soon as I put that video out saying, yeah, you know what, we're not going to do it anymore, I kind of regretted it a little bit, because over the last 3 years it's kind of become part of my identity. You know, that's what I do. I do the videos every day, or at least for the last 2 years. But and then as soon as I did it, I thought all these things to talk about. But I think it's fine. As soon as I did the video saying, yeah, we'll stop doing the daily videos, a lot of you guys were like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's run its course. Everything's good. So that's fine. So what we want to do, what I would really like to do is do a lot more in terms of tutorials, and not so much tutorials, because I've always been like, I think there's so many good tutorials out there, but a lot of things, taking tutorials and put them in with our experience, like the things that we've done, what we've done that's worked, what we've done that hasn't worked, and everything like that. A lot of times we get asked, or I get asked in the comments, a lot of questions that I know that I've talked about before, which would be like, tell us how to make money through AdMob or something like that. And I was like, I'm sure I've covered that like 4 years ago, so it's hard to find new topics to talk about, but there's a lot of stuff I do want to talk about. So I've been doing a lot, like I talked about this before, over Christmas, doing a lot with Chris. Guys, I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe it's April already, halfway through April. So around the turn of the year, I started getting into the Google Assistant and doing a little bit of code there, playing around with Dialogflow. My developers are doing a lot more with it than I am, but we did release a Google Assistant application using Dialogflow, and I want to do a tutorial on that. I don't know if you guys saw this shirt. This was sent to me by Google last week because of one of the early adopters of a Google Assistant application live on the Play Store. No, sorry, on the Google Assistant actions.google.com or whatever it is. And that wasn't easy to get that in. For some reason, it kept getting rejected, and it was for reasons that I was not used to doing Google Play. So it was getting rejected for the fact that the conversational interface was not in depth enough. I wasn't prompting for the next command, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool. So let's see who else we got here. We've got, I have this combined chat from Facebook and YouTube, but the YouTube one's much nicer. Let's see. So we've got Make English Fun Evening. Billy, hey, how's it going? Aiden Mac. Hey Eric, what am I going to listen to on my daily commute? You know what? I don't know. I really like doing the videos every day. There were times where I just felt like it was forced, but most of the time I really liked it. I realized I could talk. I could probably talk your ears off if you got in the room with me. Let's see. Making English Fun says, I put a question in the Facebook group. Wasn't sure if you're using questions from here and there. I should see it. I don't see it there. Let's see. I don't see anything in the Facebook group just yet, but maybe we've got Neil watching, and he might raise that to me. Yeah, if you put it here, Make English Fun. We're still getting to grips with things, and one of the things that you may have noticed on the live streams is it moves so fast that I can't keep up with everything. So Neil has volunteered to stay later tonight to help check things out, moderate things. If I do something like start talking with the intro screen on or something, like which I've done before, then he'll correct me and stuff like that. Mega Man 27th, hey. Josh Adams, do you know if it's possible to do RSS feed triggered push notifications on Firebase? I don't know, Josh. I've never heard of that. My assumption would be that you would have to have something that would pull it, because RSS is a pull mechanism, right? It's almost like if you did something that was push based, you'd have to be event based, and RSS by its nature is not really event based. So I don't think so. Unless there's something that's changed a lot in recent years, but every time I've ever worked with RSS, it's always been pull based. Like, I make a call to this, and then maybe I refresh it every 20 minutes or so, or I keep track of the last time that I checked it so I can make sure that I don't redo it. But and I've done a bit with RSS in the past. I mean, it's not like it's completely foreign to me, but I'm trying to think if there's been any new advancements in it that would make it event based. But I would imagine, Josh, that you would just have to have something on Firebase which just kind of polls it, every, say, 5 minutes. Because once you're into Firebase and it polls it, then you could totally make it event based. I mean, you could. So once, I mean, you don't want every. So if you did it into Firebase, Josh, wouldn't it be the same as if you had every single mobile application checking that RSS feed? You would have the one process checking the RSS feed and then sending the notifications out based on that. So it would be more efficient. So rather than everybody polling, that would be an easy way to do it. Abdo Hamdi says, do you have a marketing team? I have I have Neil. Neil's on the team, so he's joined a couple months ago, so he's helping with. We're trying to do more on social media, trying to do more on Instagram, trying to, and that was part of the videos. Was one of the discussions we keep getting to on the videos was how do we reach more people? How do we make it more valuable? I mean, how do we do that? And a lot of it came back to the fact that there's just too much out there. So it was almost like, I mean, because I could keep up with it. I tell you what, I could keep up with the daily videos. I was like, there were days, there's days where I'm thinking I just can't think of anything to talk about. But then there was other days where I think I love doing the videos every day, right? And I'm always, and even like over the last 2 days, it's only been 2 days, but I feel like, God, I feel like I've lost purpose. My life has lost purpose. But like when I'm driving someplace, I'm always looking for parks or someplace I can set the camera up, and where would be a good place. I'm always checking the wind. Is it too windy to film here? Is it? So that's kind of cool. So when Neil started up, we started doing more in terms of what kind of. I mean, it's almost thinking about it the same way we think about ASO with apps. I mean, with the YouTube videos. Although the YouTube videos don't really bring in money, they do bring in. I mean, just in terms of getting the so when we do get client work in, sometimes the client work is based on people find us on the videos and things like that. So that's something that we work on. Jay Matthew, hey, how's it going? Jay says, I would like to watch some courses / tutorials from you. So this is what I'm looking forward to doing. One of the things, so I don't know if you guys remember this, and one of the live streams, like at the end of last year, I said, I'm going to do a course. I'm going to do a course on ASO and consolidate everything from all those hundreds of videos. We'll just go over the important stuff, and we'll just make it like not one of these ridiculous, webinar fed things that cost hundreds of dollars, but it's just something that just so we can consolidate everything, so like a nice resource. And I never did it. I just could not get the time to do it. Between client work, the daily video takes a bit of time, but it's like it's never been. I mean, like, it was the one thing that I love doing. There were 2 things that I love more than all was doing the daily videos and the Mustang, and now they're both gone. But let's try to make the videos better. Right? How can we improve? And it's like one of the things that doing the video every day was like, if there's one thing I could say is that I'm a hard worker, man. I put the hours in. Like I could do it. But then it was like, I've proven that already. I've proven that I could keep going on that. I've gotten over that stage fright, so now maybe we should take some time to do some better content. And it's not so much things that are like a Flutter tutorial would be cool. I still think there are people who do better Flutter tutorials than I would. But the other things like dialogue flow, well, dialogue flow and integrating with that's something that's really interesting to me. I did one video where I talked a little bit about what is it? Oh, Fastlane. Fastlane. Well, I did like a quick 10-minute video on that. But I would like to explore that a bit more. And also just being able to put more stuff out there for so that we could all work together. Because a lot of times I'll do these videos, and then somebody will tell me about even better tools, and it makes me better as a developer too. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's just been so quiet lately in terms of client work. I mean, there's client work out there and there's stuff that comes in, but it's like so quiet. And I think it's a lot of the businesses out there is because of the Brexit things and everything. So it's just been really, really quiet lately. Which at first was like driving me crazy because I had too much money going out, but now we're scaling back a bit, and now it's kind of like, oh, the upside of that is I could slow down a little bit and focus on some things that I really wanted to get around to, like doing the course. Aiden Max says, do you think Google's TLDR, too long don't read? I like detail. I find it annoying and a bit pretentious. What do you think? I think the TLDR is a good thing. I think a lot of times. Okay, here's something. I get something in the post like from the bank, right? And the first thing I look for is there something I need to do? If it's not a statement, like if I can't recognize what it is immediately, my whole thing is, oh, what do I have to do now? It's like, why is this 8 pages long? What do I need to do here? And the first line will say, you don't need to do anything with this. This is just for your information. I'm like, screw it. I don't care enough about what it is. If it's something important, I'm sure somebody will phone me. But a lot of times, so I think the TLDR is probably the most important thing. It is ridiculous the amount of the terms and conditions and everything that we have out there. Even in terms of Google Play policies, they keep trying to simplify it, and it is getting simpler and simpler. But sometimes it's just there's so much, and you almost need like and it could be vague too. It's almost like a lot of it could be open to interpretation, which makes sense, right? If it says content should not be offensive, that could mean, you know, don't have Nazis in your application, or it could mean you don't insult a certain minority or whatever. But offensive is a you know, it's kind of an all-encompassing term. There are levels of offensiveness, and a lot of times you think we don't want to all put out things that nobody would find offensive, or that nobody could possibly, because then everything would be very bland. I mean, you could think Tinder is offensive. You could think Uber is offensive. Could you? Maybe. But that's just my opinion there. So Divyanshu says, I was busy doing a side project last month. It was a pleasure if Eric could check ASO and stuff. Check his ASO and stuff. Okay, so we're going to have a look at Divyanshu's application here. So this is... Okay, so my new setup here, I got to remember where everything is. Okay, so let's go to screen share. Cool, everything's working. Good. So this is Divyanshu's application. So if anybody has anything they want to mention here. So blind match, stranger chat, anonymous chat, no login. Is that like okay, all right, that sounds pretty cool. So I'm trying to think, what was the chat roulette was a thing, God, it was like a decade ago. So no login, completely chat with most fun strangers, YouTube videos in real time with strangers. Blind match, cool. All right. In terms of, let's see. So like in terms of the ASO, I think it looks pretty good. I like the screenshots. Although you should have more screenshots. And I think with most fun strangers, I think the English on that could be a bit better, to the way you word it, right? But you know, so like, and with the YouTube, watch YouTube videos with strangers. I think that would be more positive. Like, don't watch YouTube videos alone. There's no reason to watch these things alone. But let's have a look at if I go. Let's just go to Google Play again over here. You guys can see my screen, right? Let's see. If I go chat with strangers, and just in terms of, because a lot of times there are app concepts out there that I think are novel and new, and they, you know, and then you guys say, no, that's, you know, that's been out there for a while. So let's see, chat for strangers, chat strangers, chat changes. Ooh, so there's quite a few. And where do we rank? Where does blind match rank in this? And now, of course, I'm looking at the UK versions of this. Chat with strangers. So yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, it looks like there's quite a lot of competition for this type of app. If I do just a search on the page for blind match, sorry, blind. So yeah, let's have a look over at the. So when did this come out? This was released on. You've got 12 reviews, and I think this would be the thing with the. Having a chat application with strangers, if you go on there and there's nobody there, that would be kind of like a really bad first experience. But you're going to have that when as it's starting to grow. 0+ installs. So this was released on today. So yeah, there's probably not enough information on this yet. But I like the. I think it looks good. Actually, I'm just looking at the icon. It's difficult to say because a lot of times we talk about what. Talk about what we like and what works. Now, if anybody else wants to say what they like or don't like about this application, that would be cool. It's called Blind Match by Blind Match. If you want to have a look at that and give your feedback on it, I think you could use a few more screenshots. I like the colorful nature of it, and I think it looks very professional. But it does look like it's going to be a crowded market for you. So, so that's just my opinion there. So. Let me think here. So, where were we? Let's see. So yeah, if anybody you guys want to give Divyanshu any feedback on that. let's have a look. What else we got? Marwin says maybe a function that listens to the RSS feed. Maybe a function that listens to the RSS feed. Yeah, I think, but still, an RSS feed, you still have to, if you were to listen to it, you'd still have to pull it, right? Like if you had something that listened to, like if you had something that listened to like a static HTML page, you would still have to just keep polling it at a regular basis. I mean, but once you get to that bit, because you're moving something that's request based and pull based to something that should be event based, so an event actually occurs. And if it's sitting on a server someplace like an RSS feed, which is very non-dynamic, then you'd have to have something that does that. Let's see. Making apps fun says, as my apps grow, I get approached by groups. In my case, the Educational App Store with offers to promote. Have you ever used anything like that? Or if you approach influencers, or if you have approached influencers or YouTube/blogs, how did you go about it? Always worried if they hate it, they could review it badly and basically kill it. Yeah, I've never actually approached influencers, and I've had a client who did that, and he went with an Instagram model, I guess. Oh, so it was like it was a very niche app. And he went with an Instagram person on that and paid, I think, a couple $100, and he got a lot of downloads from it. So it was like, it seemed to work, but yeah, for me, I would think they could be positive or negative about it. Like I keep getting approached by companies saying, will you promote that, do you want to promote our app or do you want to promote our tool? And I keep thinking, I look at it and I'll go, no, I don't really, no, I don't want to. I don't want to put something out there just for the financial benefits of doing it. I mean, that was one where I had an affiliate link type of thing saying, feature our app, our service, and you can get funding for it. And part of me thought, yeah, maybe, I mean, everybody does that, but the other part of me thought, I really don't like being considered a mark. Like, yeah, I think we're all trying to grow our app businesses. We're all trying to do stuff, and if I see something that I think will really work, then that will be something. But if I see something that just thinks, I don't know if I haven't been able to get it to work for me, but it'll be a bit of extra revenue coming through, then I just don't want to do that. But and also, if somebody says, will you review my app on your channel, I mean, I would say what I don't like about it. I mean, and it's difficult, especially if somebody comes to you and they're a fan of the channel. I mean, for me, I don't want to be put into that position where I have to say, this is bad, or this needs work, or this is whatever. So but that's just me. So Prithvi says, hey Eric, I just launched a new app on Google Play, and I've been binge watching your videos for some tips and motivation. Cool, awesome content. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thanks, Prithvi. Vinay Sharma says, how to protect our Android apps from invalid clicks or invalid traffic. I've asked this question to AdMob before. There's really no way to protect it from invalid clicks, right? If somebody was to sabotage your application, they could do. But there is a way to appeal it, just saying it's app click sabotage. So it is in the AdMob documentation. And this is one of the things where it probably pays to have mediation just in case that does happen. I mean, if you think that's possible, then it would. And it's terrible that somebody can do that. And of course, I used to fear that a lot, just because I have the channel. What if somebody did that to me? And I suppose it could happen. But I would appeal it and then hopefully get through, and just have like a good record. Like if you're just starting out, and I think a lot of people who just starting out, they put their apps in, their ads in, and then they immediately get shut down, then it's going to have a lot less sway with Google than that. But AdMob, they will shut you down without checking with you. It's an automated process. If something looks funny, they'll shut you down, and it's your responsibility to go through and appeal it, saying nothing was done wrong here. And I think it's mainly to protect the people who are paying for the ads, which is, as somebody who I've purchased ads before in the past, I don't want people fake clicking, right? I don't want them to think, let's investigate this. Let's call up the developer. Let's spend the next few days trying to get in touch with them and say, no, shut them down now, and or stop sending my ads through to them. But I have asked AdMob about that, and that was just the one thing they said. there's really no way for them to know, but they do have the machine learning in place so they could check that kind of stuff. Mega Man 2016 says, "Hi Eric, how often Mega Man 2016? Are you ever going to change your name to Mega Man 2019?" Hi Eric, how often do you write blog posts, and is the traffic comparable to your YouTube views? So Mega Man, I started doing blog. I remember I created a blog back in like 2003. Like no, it was like 2002, and I just created my own personal blog, and I started writing on that, and I thought I would get good at it, and I didn't get very much traffic to it at all, not very much, and a lot of people do. They start a blog and they do it whatever, and then when I moved everything over to Overpass, and when we started releasing apps, I just redid the whole site. I went from, on my Overpass site, it went from, I think, Mambo to Joomla to .NET Nuke, to .NET Nuke to DOSblog, the Scott Hanselman one, and then over to WordPress, where it's been at WordPress since. But like in 2012 or early 2013, I redid the whole thing, started from scratch, and writing blog posts. And I would write 3 to 5 blog posts a week, and it never got any traction. Right? It was just a thing. And then when I started doing the videos, I started getting a bit more views. But it is like just trying to be prolific and putting stuff out there. So even now, I don't write blog posts that often. Occasionally I do. Usually, like lately, it's been because Neil on the team has been like pestering me to do it, saying, can you write something with this title? Can you write something about this? And I'm like, oh, all right. And I'm trying to write something because there's a lot to say. It's just a lot easier to turn the camera on and talk about it. So, yeah, that's something that, and again, that's one of the things that I wanted to do when I slow things down a bit. I want to do a bit more on the writing side, because I could write a blog post in whatever 20-30 minutes, but I just haven't done it. Right? And it's been like there's been so much content going out already. But yeah, it's nowhere near comparable. Even then, if you're Googling something, like if you're saying you're Googling if I'm Googling a problem I'm having with Final Cut Pro, like I'm editing something, and I'll say, how do you do this, right? And it comes up with the videos at the top of Google, and then there's all the blog posts. I always go to the videos, even though they take longer to watch the guy do it, and you're skipping across, which I'm sure people do on my videos too. It's just more, to me, it's more attractive just to find the videos and just go straight in. So, and I think that's just the way forward. I think a lot of you guys, if you're not doing video, you should think about doing it. I mean, and it's hard because especially like some of the comments that I get can be really hateful, not really critical, and like it just kind of ruins your day, and you just have to shrug it off. And sometimes I'm like, I don't have the thickest skin in the world, so sometimes this kind of stuff lingers with me for a while. So let's see, are we still let's see, Neil, how am I doing? Let's see, cool. Vikram says, how to promote my mobile apps to get more downloads. There's lots of ways to do that. I mean, I did a video back in 2015 called How to Increase Downloads on Google Play, and a lot of the things on it are still very relevant in terms of finding the right keywords. How are people going to find it? The questions you need to find are, well, okay, let's start with the 3 stages. There's 3 stages to getting people to download your app. First, they have to know that it exists, right? Which means they're searching on something, and how are they going to find it? So if they don't know it exists, and they're not searching for it, then you have to think about it. What are they searching for? How are they going to find it? If you have a game that's like let's say I have a game that's completely, totally unique, and I call it Overpass the Game. I'd call it something just like, I come up with a clever title, and it's like it's a masterpiece of, it's fun and everything like that. I still have to think, how are people going to get to it? Now, if it's something that's really, like if I have an advertising budget, I could get that in front of people, but if not, I'm relying on people searching for it and finding it. So you have to think about those kind of things. And look at the client acquisition process, like a client acquisition report on, is the client acquisition report? Yeah, the acquisition report on Google Play, which says, first, are you showing up in search? If you're not showing up in search, how can you do that? And if you're doing advertisements, you don't need to worry about that step, right? Are they hitting your play page description? So if they're, or even the App Store page, are they getting to that bit? If they're getting to that bit and they're not downloading, then you have to think about how can you change your icon, your screenshots, your description, because that's the hardest part, is getting up in front of them, but they're not making that download decision. And then the next part is, once they download, how do you get them to actually monetize? Are you showing ads? Are you actually able to get them to make in-app purchases and stuff like that? So it's thinking about the whole process. It's not so much how do I get people to download it, because you think they have to find it some way, right? Like if I had, let's say if I set up a sandwich shop inside this office, nobody's going to know about it, right? It's just going to be, I'd have to get out there and think about, maybe I do put it in a better location. I have to think about what people are searching for. How are they going to find it? How are they going to get to it? If they come in here, look at the menu and walk back out, then how do I change the menu so it makes it more appealing that they actually buy something or they download, etc., etc., etc. And we talk about this all the time, and it really is thinking about the user journey and what do you want, how do you want them to find it, and how do you want them to get to it. Hawk, guten Morgen. Hey, guten Morgen. Let's see. Vivek says, Eric, sir, please make a video on Unity 3D career in the future. I don't know Unity 3D, unfortunately, Vivek. I could do some research and maybe we could talk about it. And that's kind of one of the things I've never really wanted to do. I don't want to like go out and then learn something so I could do a video about it, because it's the experience in doing it that adds the value to it. Like if we talk about Ionic, I could talk about Ionic all day, and I've done some videos on Ionic, and I tell you what, some of the worst comments I have was the videos I've done on Ionic saying why we're not using Ionic anymore. And just this week, I've got an app with Ionic that I have to go through and fix because of 12.2 is causing some font issues. And I did a video about it earlier this week, and I still haven't resolved those. I mean, I spent hours on it, hours, and going from UI WebView to WK WebView, and then I've got all the cores issues, the cross-site scripting issues. So once I go through and fix those, then I have other issues that come up, and it's just sort of, and then I have to go through and retest the entire thing because the app has been out for like 5 years for a client, and it just stopped working. And it didn't stop working; it stopped looking right on 12.2, and I still haven't quite got there yet. Oh, boy, am I talking too much? Sometimes it feels like I'm talking too much. Let's see. Divyanshu says, let me just make sure you guys are still there. Is everybody still here on the live stream? Is anybody asking everything over on Facebook? Oh, we do get some Facebook stuff. All right, so there we go. Twitter down. Okay, Twitter was down. Okay, so yeah, Neil, sorry, I didn't know you were at the at another channel. Let's see. Good Morgan. Divyanshu says, I launched the app the day before yesterday, 300 downloads and 70 active installs so far. That's good, Divyanshu. Forget what I said about everything. That sounds really good. If you're getting those downloads, I mean, 300 in one day, and I think that's really good. I mean, especially if you're not advertising. Tanzil Zubair bin Zaman says, any advice for first-time developers? I think what you should do is get an app out there. And I know there's a lot of really like rushed applications out there, but your master, like, don't hesitate with your masterpiece. Like if you have like the killer app idea and you want to build it, I think you should look at doing something where you can at least go through the process of putting something on the App Store. You don't want to be somebody who spends the next 12 months building your masterpiece application and then never seeing it actually go live. Or once it goes live, you're like, why isn't anybody downloading it? And then you have to go through and do that. And you'll learn a lot by putting out something that's your second favorite idea or your next one, because that will be that's the learner car. That's the one that you're gonna you get all messed up on. Everything's gonna get screwed up. So Tanzel, that would be the one thing. I mean, I've talked to so many app developers who are like, I've been working on this for a year and a half in my spare time, and I released it and nobody's downloading it. And it's like, well, that's a long time for something to be in development. And for me, I know that I run out of steam. I lose interest in a project if it's gone on too long, right? Especially if it's one of my own. If it's a client project, you have to get it done. You have to get paid. It's like there's something pushing you through it. But if it's your own application, it's easy to give up on something if you spend too long on it. So I think it's getting it out there as soon as possible and thinking about how people are going to find it. That's the one thing you have to think about. How are people going to find it? And what are they searching for something similar? What are they doing? So so let's see. Like how much did you make the very first app you made? The first app I made, for like a long time, it was making a couple pounds a day, well, a couple dollars a day, and then it got to. I remember when it got to a point where it was making $10 a day, and everybody was like, "Ooh, that's really good. All you need to do is have like 10 of those, right?" And I thought, "Yeah, right," which I tried, didn't quite work that way, but it was like, it was that having that, and everybody thought that was kind of cute, like that I had this thing. So no, that's good. No, and I was like, yeah, but my whole thing was I wanted to be making more. I wanted to build on it. Like it's one of the things as app developers, as somebody putting something out there, you have a vision for the way you want things to go, and it's probably more than anybody around you can think of. And a lot of times you can fall into the trap of listening to those around you, thinking you should be happy with what you have, but you could have a runaway. I mean, there is no ceiling to what you can achieve with an app. I mean, most of us won't get to Uber levels, right, or anything like that, but it's there. It's possible. I mean, if I had a job right now, I guess I kind of do have a job, but if I had a job working for somebody else, I could never make more than they were willing to pay me. But because I have apps out on the App Store, I could have a day where one of them does really well without me having done anything, right? Maybe it gets featured in a by an influencer or something, or maybe maybe it gets promoted by Google or whatever, and then I could have like a really good day because I have things out there that are generating passive income without me having to do anything about it. And that's one of the things that it's always nice to think about. Let's see. Josh Adams says, I have an app that made for my Facebook page that has 125,000 fans, but focus on the U.S. state. However, I use APIs that work for the entire U.S. How large of an ad campaign would I need to get it out there? So Josh, I'm not quite sure I understand this. So what you're saying is that you're focused on one state in terms of the application, but what you want to do is have like for the whole country. Surely that would just be a case of opening on the Facebook applications. You would just have that targeting the entire country rather than the one state, right? And I think one of the things is if it's a type of app where you rely on other users, maybe it is good to go state by state, because you think about, and I've seen this a lot. I've seen this with some of our clients where they'll come to us and they'll say they've got an app where somebody there's a buyer and a seller, or somebody like a service. So I keep hearing the Uber idea again and again. God, I've signed so many NDAs that they all started to blend together after a while. That's why I never talk about the specifics of app ideas that I hear, just because it's not anything. But a lot of times it's based on an Uber idea, and I talk about the Uber for babysitters, the whole thing. So if I'm going to go and hire a babysitter, and then I go onto the app and I say I need a babysitter, and I say your closest babysitter is in San Francisco, California, right? I'm like, well, that's like on the other side of the world, but so you need both. You need to have both of them come at the same time. One of the things that Facebook did was they were focused on one university at a time, and then they started to expand a little bit. So they started in those smaller pockets because Facebook doesn't work if you don't know anybody else on it, right? It's just that's just it. So if it's something that does require, like if it requires a network, then I would say go from state to state. But let's see. So this is from Prithvi. Says, check out my listing. Any feedback would be appreciated. So this is Prithvi's app. It's called, let me just go to screen share over here. This is called, Scribble animation effect for your pics. Is that, who is that? That's not Osama bin Laden, is it? Or is that, I can't tell who that is, but it's a very complicated icon. Scribble animation effects for your pics. Cool. So you've got like a cool. So draw animations on your photos, or is that? Sorry, I was saying, is that Osama bin Laden? That might be you. Sorry about that. could just be, that could be anybody. But I mean, it is, I think it would be like the icon, like you can't quite tell what it is just by looking at it. So you might want to make the icon a little less complicated. I mean, if we look, every time I see like an actual image in an icon, I mean, you see it a lot on fitness apps, I guess. You see like somebody's abs or something. But because you're talking about the small screen, every time I do an icon, I think about what's it going to look like when it's really small. Like, and not just on the small screen, like on the launch screen, but also like if you send push notifications, it's going to show up in the taskbar and everything too. So let's see. So we got Scribble animation effects. We got the video here. I don't know if you guys can hear the audio for this. I don't know if I can hear the audio for this. Is there audio? Cool. Yeah, you might want to. If I can't tell if with this new setup if there's audio, but if there's not audio, you might want to go to Audio Jungle and get some music for it. Just pay a couple dollars for something in the background, cool. Draw animations for your photos. Scribble, choose from variety of posts. Be creative. Get featured. Is there anything about their share? So you share them on your social networks, because I think that would be a huge feature. But again, Scribble animation effects for your pics. So you've got 54 reviews. Actually, this looks like it's doing really well. 54 reviews. It came out on the 30th of March, so just a couple weeks ago, version 1.1. Let's have a look over at App Annie. I don't know if I'm used to sitting down in the live streams. Oh, my back. Let's see. Let's go to there we go. Scribble. I'm going to take a look at the ASO keywords on here. So you're ranking for Scribble, number 23 for Scribble. That sounds cool. Scribble. So let's go to the U.S. market. For me, the biggest market is the U.S. I don't know what it is for you guys, but it's always been the U.S. Even like the secondary ones have been, even though they've been really good. Like we were really good in Thailand for a while and Brazil for a while, but the U.S. has always been the top one for me. Let's see. So Scribble. So yeah, that sounds good, but pictures and photos might be good keywords to put in there too. I don't know if you can get it in. Let's see. Let's go back to, where was it? Scribble. Try to think what other keywords. What would somebody be searching for? Okay, so never post boring static media on Snapchat. So you have the share feature, and I think the share feature would be good for the screenshots. We're constantly working new features. So think about some of the other things that people might be. So you got photos. You got pics. Do you have pictures in there? So yeah, pictures would be something to put in there too, so that we think about the combinations that somebody would be searching for. So if somebody says, I want to scribble on pictures, I want to draw on pictures, I want to all those kind of things. Let's see if we can work them into the, yeah. So you got draw in there a couple times, but yeah, that's what I would do. I would do that. So does anybody else have any feedback for that one? Let's see. Cool. Now let's go to Tanzil says, okay, oh, and two more questions. Tanzil says, do you think the free version of Firebase is good enough for push notifications? Yes. I think it is. You're going to get to a point where you have to upgrade at some point. The reasons to upgrade Firebase would be if you need more concurrent connections, if you're exceeding the download limits of it, or if you need to communicate with other services. So like I had a Firebase application which I wanted to connect to a MySQL database. So I wanted to use MySQL and use cloud functions. So I wanted the cloud functions to connect to MySQL and then another third-party API. So like I wanted it to connect. So if you want that, you have to have a paid version. You have to have at least Flame. It goes, what does it go? The free version, then you got Flame, Blaze, and then other than that. So it goes from, I can't remember what it is, but you go from free to like $25 a month to, you know, more. And the more part's scary. Like we've had some really huge bills on Firebase for a client because we were downloading the entire database at one point. It was like not well designed by the developers. We had to go through and change that. So and 2, for the first ever, this is Tenzil's second question, for the first ever app for a first time app developer, should I go paid? I think, you know what, I think I think you should go paid and free, but try the paid one first, right? I've talked to a few developers recently who've had paid applications that, especially on the Apple App Store. I think the Apple App Store, you can find users that are more willing to pay for an application, especially if they can't find a free version, right? But if that doesn't work, so I've done this. I've released paid versions of an application and found out that nobody was downloading it. Like nobody weren't even trying it. Like maybe I got like 3 downloads of this application. So that the free version came out like a month later. I was like, all right, let's put some in-app purchases in this. We got to get this out for more people. So, and then we started to see a bit of traction. So I do think you need a free version, but you could try the paid version first. It's going to be easier to go paid than free than it is go free than paid, I think. Or ad-based. Ad-based is good. I mean, a lot of my revenue is ad-based, but it's up and down, right? Like this week this week was like one of the lowest ad mob days I've had in months. It was like, I made like 54 pounds through ad mob on that day, and like normally it's around 80, 80 or 90, like, and it was just like this really low. And there's been a few days where it's just been dipping, and I'm wondering why and it's because of the RPM. The RPM is going down, and I'm not sure why. And you can't control the RPM. It's based on the quality of the ads, how much people are clicking and stuff like that. So, so ads are good if you could only do free, and like my apps are mostly free, so I do pretty well with ads, but. And you got to think some people just will not pay. Now they came out with Google came out with something a couple weeks ago, and I think it's in a trial. It's in beta. It's something where you have these smart ads, so you could say, I only want to serve ads to people who will not make in-app purchases, and then you could do it that way. So, and I think what the thing was there is that you would choose your own house ads that say download this. Like your ads would say download the in-app purchases for people who are likely to make in-app purchases, and they're able to make these determinations based on machine learning and their algorithms and stuff like that. So let's see. Harsh Sharma says, Eric, I'm watching your videos from lots of years, but why your channel is not growing even though your content is unique and genuine? Why is it not growing? Because I'm not very good at doing the market. Because I do too much content, and this is one of the things we're looking at. This is one when Neil came on to join the team, thinking, how can we get the channel to grow a bit more? I mean, it's kind of like, and it's not so much like I want to become this like big YouTuber or anything. We're thinking, let's put the effort in. How can we get more people to find it? And a lot of it has to be with having like, I need to think more about same with apps. I got to think more about the keywords beforehand. What will people be searching for? What's a better title for this video? Would it be something like, what was the last video I did? Well, the last video I did, I guess, was called my last daily video, right? My final daily video, which is when I did. Now, Neil was saying, he was trying to think of like a really good title for it, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Because when you do it every day, it's just kind of like, it's too much thought, so I just put something out there. Right, and there's that kind of stuff. The most successful videos that I have out there are the ones where I talk about either how much revenue I make, or I talk that one I did about Ionic, why we're not using Ionic anymore, and that one did really. I mean, it's got a lot of views. It's got a lot of hateful comments on it because basically I said in it is like, I really like Ionic. Ionic is really cool. Although this week I'm starting to rethink that. But I mean, it's like they're really smart guys, but everybody says, I don't understand why it was. And basically what I was saying was, we're not going to use it for client work anymore, because if there's a problem with, like if Apple starts to reject them, then what am I going to do? If I have all these hundreds of apps out there that for clients, and everybody says, I don't think that's a very good reason not to do Ionic. And I thought, I can't think of a better reason. So even this week, like just having this application, which it's done, right? It's been paid for years ago. It's been on the App Store for years, and then 12.2 is causing issues. And now I got to start going through and looking through the old code, Ionic version 1, and go through and start looking at what's causing this. And because it's in a web view, it fails silently. I'm not gonna have a go about that, but it's but yeah, but I appreciate that, Harsh. Let's see. My VIP says, hey Eric, last 2 weeks I've had a huge drop on my main app, more than 50%. Is there a search algorithm update these days? Anyone have any drop these days? I've seen a drop. I was looking at this the other day. Somebody put it in, I think it was in our Facebook group. No, it was a comment on one of the videos. So I did have a look, and I've noticed that mine has gone down a bit. Let me see if I could show you that. I can't remember if I could show you that screen on my application. So, and I don't know if the rest of you guys, if you've had anything like that. I'm just gonna go. My biggest app is Ear Agent. And there's lots of copycats out there. Mine is. So let's see. I'm just going to the dashboard page so I can show you. Okay, revenue. Okay, this is not. Okay, this doesn't show ECPI. I'm not allowed to show you my RPMs or anything like that. That's one of the reasons why I don't do that. So let me just show my screen. So this is my like the last 30 days of downloads of my KPI. So this is installs by user and revenue. So revenue's up and down. It's always up and down. But you see here, like my installs per user were very consistent like a month ago, and you see it has gone down quite a bit, but I've noticed my rankings have changed a little bit. Whereas before I was still coming up first on a lot of the keywords, and now I've kind of dropped a bit. And I really need to get to the point where don't look at those crashes in ANRs. So I really need to get to the point where I've done it. So I've seen a 13% drop in the last 30 days. So yeah, I mean, I've noticed that. And it's kind of I need to get off my butt and start releasing some updates to that too, and start looking at that. Let's see. Harsh Sharma says, why don't you try some Gary V strategies? So that was one of the things we started doing. So we're doing the videos daily. So it's like, how can we start doing more Instagram posts, more things like that, and getting the videos out there a bit more, which we have been doing. But again, it was almost a case where doing the daily videos, like we would get like a system going where everything was running like clockwork. Like it was like I would do the video and we'd be like a day in advance, and then we'd get it transcribed, and then it would be, and then we get the thumbnail done, and we'll get the description looking right, and do all the right keyword search, and then we'll create the Instagram post, and everything would go, and then all it took was like one person to be ill, and then everything falls apart, and then we're basically playing catch up. Or sometimes I just couldn't think of an idea, so although I try to do videos a couple days in advance, some days it's like on that day. Some days you see the video like on the same day that I did it, and that's what I was doing earlier this week. It was like that same day, which is kind of more genuine in a way, because I don't have to say last week I had this comment when really it was like I just got that comment. So that's cool. Let's see. Just passing by. Show my support. So Rowena's coming. Say, my VIP says, hey Eric, last 2 weeks, huge drop. Done that one. Mega Man 2016 says, I would do videos, but I don't want my ugly mug on the screen. Haha. For now, I will be blogging. So Mega Man, I don't know if that's true. I think it's like, for me, one of the things, if you look at my early videos, I was just really nervous. I tried to smile, but a lot of it was like I've lost a bit of weight since then. So like one of the things about doing the videos, especially every day, was I started realizing how little. My wardrobe was like I wore the same thing all the time, and like if I didn't shave, like it was, so I started like doing the videos every day. It did get me to work out a little bit more and start doing more stuff, and it was just getting used to that getting in front of it and getting used to the way you look, because I think you'd be fine. I mean, unless you're like, I mean, no, you'd be fine. We're software developers. We're not looking for beefcake when we go into these videos, are we? Let's see. Okay. Let's see. CH developments. Yep. Nope. Making English fun says I agree. Get the app out there. Oh, so I'm way behind here on these comments, aren't I? $10 a day. How TF? So Lion King. Yeah, I mean, you have to think about, like, you need to get. So this is the problem with ads, especially when you're starting out. It's because I think a lot of people don't realize you need to have a lot of impressions to make ads work. And so I was getting, like, I mean, I remember just getting pennies coming through the ads, and occasionally I'll get the in-app purchases come through. But you have to, for ads to work, and especially as more and more people are coming in, you have more supply than demand. So if there were only 10 applications out there, for example, let's say there were only 10 apps with ads, then those ads would be really expensive. Everybody would be bidding for those ads. But because there are thousands and thousands of ad spaces out there to fill, if you did an ad, if you took out an ad and you said, I want to pay 1 cent per impression, you could get that. I mean, maybe 2 cents or 3 cents, whatever, but you could do that because there's always some place to put that ad, right? And that's one of the things with more people coming into the App Store. It's one of the reasons why RPM rates go down over time, right? But some people will, but there are also more people going into it and paying for those ads. So right now it's been kind of a nice balance where more people are learning how to put Google ads out there, and they're purchasing these ads to promote their businesses or their products or whatever. But then there's a lot more ad space out there. And you think about, like, in apps, you have a lot more creative advertisements to do, like rewarded ads and well, I mean, interstitials is something that people expect, but you also have native ads. Let's see. Potionware says, is it possible to put an IAP on sale in a Google Play app? Yeah, all you have to do is lower the price of it, right? Unless I misunderstand that one. But yeah, I mean, but the thing is, if you put something on sale and nobody knows, this is one of the things. I tried to have sales on my app before. A few times I said, we're going to have the big James Bond sale because the new James Bond movie is coming out, like the last James Bond movie, Spectre, right? So we had the James Bond sale. So for the next 2 weeks, EarSpy is going to be, half price, right? And the thing is, like, most people weren't checking that every day. They weren't like passing by. It wasn't like in a store you go by thinking, oh, that's what the normal price is, that's this price, right? They were just, it was either too expensive or not too expensive. And it didn't really work too well with me. But you could just always say that it's half price now. Regular retail, like, do that sleazy thing where you say, all right, normal retail price for this app is $19.99. Today you get it for $2.99, right? That's a 97% discount, whatever. You could do something like that. They wouldn't know. They're not going to come back next month and find out otherwise. But, I haven't had any success with that. And maybe it's something I should have tried a bit more. Let's see. Time is 6 o'clock. Okay, so Lion King says, I've had 7 apps on the Play Store in the last 8 months. Only one of them gets daily downloads, and only 15 average at that. So Lion King, let's have a look at one of your applications, just so we could have a look at it together. That would be really cool. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Fist007 says, what's up? Hey, Eric, what's up? What's up? Your arms, you've been working out. So, Fist007, thank you for noticing. No, this shirt, so Google sent me this shirt because I did one of the Google Assistants. And, okay, so up until, I talk about changing my wardrobe, up until about a year and a half ago, and ever since high school, I always get an extra large t-shirt, right? Because it hides my belly, it does all this stuff. So I've always worn an extra large t-shirt, even though I'm probably not an extra large person. I started thinking about it. That was always what I wore. When I'd run like half marathons and stuff, I'd always get the extra large t-shirt. That's what I wore, right? And then I started realizing that I think I bought a shirt that was, for some reason, it was too small. And when I started wearing it, everyone started complimenting on me on it, saying that it looks good. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm not a size extra large. And I started, so I threw out all my extra large t-shirts, which were, you know, loads of them. And I bought large t-shirts. And then I realized I'm actually a size medium. Like my shoulders come, like the seam shouldn't be all the way down here. So, but sometimes the shirt comes in, it's a bit small. But yes, I have been going to the gym, and I've been going 5 days a week. And, which again is, you know, if I didn't have the videos to do every day, because I just work in the office by myself, I probably wouldn't bother. But yeah, check out those guns, baby. Thanks for noticing, Fist 007. Hope my kids are watching. They're gonna love the fact I did that. Let's see. Potion wear. Is it possible? Okay, so let's see. Shivang Chahan says, hello, do you think that Android Play Store is overpopulated with applications? Yeah, I think it is. I think there's so many. I think both app stores are overpopulated. That's one of the reasons why we have the repetitive content policy going through. And it's not something that I think a lot of people think it's just this easy money thing, and it's not. I mean, there's so much junk in the stores that it's one of the reasons why we have trouble with discoverability. So yeah, I do think that, Shivang. John Mulligan says, any chance you could look at my app, please? Advice welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at it. If you're still here. I know, guys, it takes me ages to get to this stuff. And one of the things I said to Neil was I keep missing the chats at the bottom, so he's responding in the chat window. If he's still there. Let's see. So let's share the screen here. So this is John's application. It's called 5,000 airports, airport arrivals and departures. Cool. Is there an API for this? I didn't even know there was there must be an API for this, but never even thought about it. So let's see. We've got 888 reviews. That's awesome. 100,000 plus installs. Oh, jeez. You know, I should be asking you for feedback. Let's see. So we've got the screenshots here, which are cool. I mean, it's difficult to say if something's working really well. I would hate to think to change it, but I would think that the screenshots could have a bit more. Like, okay, so let's have a look here. We've got the app screenshots, which are just the app size, which is cool. But then when we go to tablet size, you have the tablet in there, which I don't think really adds much to it without any kind of copy. But it's almost flight information arrivals and departures. I really want to see what this looks like in terms of what keywords you're getting on this, because I mean, to me that looks like it's doing really well. Let's see. Nope. No, why? Oh, dude, the wrong one. Okay. Where was it? Flight information. Well, app rank history, go to dashboard. Go to ASO keywords. I mean, this is more kind of what I'm thinking. So under United Kingdom, you're ranking for the United Kingdom, but I mean, what have I done? Oh, I've done something wrong here. I think it's somehow logged me out. The United States. Oh, app is going all funny now. Let's see, flight information, arrivals and departures. I think it looks really cool. I mean, I think a video might be good, but it's difficult because I think it's really useful. You've obviously got people coming into it. What I would like to do here. Let's just do if I just do a search on flight information. So you're ranking first for flight information, which is what we'd be looking for. That's really cool. That's really, really good. It's almost like I would be hesitant to change anything in terms of anything there, but because you're ranking first for flight information, flight details. flight departures. So you're ranking second. Arrivals. You're ranking third. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's go back to that one. So, yeah, no, it sounds like you're doing really, really well. 100,000 plus installs. Last updated on the 23rd of March. Use appropriate details. Let's see. Daily ranks. So you're ranking on, yeah, you're actually doing really, yeah. I'm hesitant to say anything about this, John, just because you seem to be doing pretty well. But I think you should make some changes. And what I would use is because you have the traffic coming through, you do have people searching for it. You do have people finding it, and you can look at your user acquisition report on Google Play. You can see if it's coming up in search, how often it's coming up in search, and versus how many times people are downloading it. And you can use those Google Play experiments in order to try different icons. So maybe one icon would do better than another. One of the big problems with Google Play experiments is it doesn't really work if you don't have traffic coming through it. So like if you get two downloads a day and you're trying to experiment between icons and it's always 50-50, it doesn't tell you anything. But if you're getting like a lot of them coming through, you could start to do that. I would be very hesitant to change the title or the keywords in the title or anything, because it seems like you have that nailed. But I would think like if you try different icons, maybe some different screenshots and stuff, just to see if it makes a difference in terms of the download rates. But I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so we've got another one from. Let's see. So that was John Mulligan's app. Jay Matthews said, if I had $1 for every Uberist idea I've heard, I could retire. I hear them all the time. Hawk says, curious, in your last vlog you mentioned you discussed with your team about the pros and cons of a daily vlog before you decide to scale back. Wondering why, since the daily vlog is only you and the camera. So what we've been talking about was, it's usually just me and the camera, and for a while we had Marvin was editing it, but a lot of times it was just trying to keep up with everything, and so I was just editing it myself, which is kind of fun. But then we wanted to optimize them a bit more. So how do we get the right keywords in? How do we, get the right titles in? How do we research some topics a little bit more, right? And there's some times where it felt like we're putting out videos just because I said I would do it every day, and I need a topic for that day. But I mean, I could think of loads of them, but you believe if I talked about something that was not specifically app related, I got a lot of flack from it. A lot of people just complain about stuff, but I love doing it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So, Josh Adams says, I'm mainly just wondering how much an ad campaign would cost and get, say, 1,000 downloads. Difficult to say. I would go for the cheapest ad campaign you can and have a try. Facebook is going to be more expensive, Josh. Let's see. Rifat, hey, how's it going? Hey, Eric, I'm thinking to buy a studio for a business. Ooh, like a building. What do you think about buying a high ceiling industrial place with pensions for a startup garage? That would be awesome. I would love to have a garage. That sounds like really, really cool. I've thought about that. I thought every so often, like, you're driving around here and you'll see warehouses and you think, I wonder if I could just set up in a warehouse. That would just be cool. Like a huge warehouse with like rafters and everything, and then like one desk in the corner. But I don't think I could just see the getting internet set up might be difficult. If you go someplace that's used to like industrial, security might be a bit of an issue because they're not used to high tech equipment in there. But I think that would be really cool. Like, one of the coolest job interviews I ever went to was at a farm. And it was like out in the middle of nowhere, one lane road. I had to pull over to the side so somebody else could go the other direction. And I went out there and I thought for sure I was in the wrong place. And it was like this industrial, like a converted barn. And there's like a lot of these converted barns and stuff in the UK that be converted into offices. And it was like really, really cool. I thought I could see myself working here, right? And that if you do have something like that, like a high ceiling, studio warehouse type of thing, then that would be, I think that would be like a lot of like if you're looking for employees, that might be enticing to them. Let's see. Let's see. U.S. top 1, your users revenue and numbers of user revenue. Let's see. Oh, so Rodrigo says my U.S. is the top 1. Yes, in terms of users, in terms of revenue too, actually. Let's see. My VIP says anyone here has a big drop in the last few days. Okay, we talked about a drop in what? Paid is never the way. Josh says. How do you decide between Firebase real-time database and Firestore for your apps? I believe both do the same real-time connections. Yeah, I think Firestore is just newer, isn't it? I mean, it's Firebase real-time database. It seems like when Firestore came out, it was almost like they kept Firebase real-time database for the same reasons. But I've looked at both, and I just go for. I think we have an application that uses the real-time database, but yeah, I've never used Firestore actually. I've never bothered to learn it. I probably should though. Josh Adams says ad revenues through interstitials will always exceed paid revenue, and it's free, so more downloads. That's true, Josh. But if you can get somebody to pay, then it's a lot better user experience for them. But yeah, I mean I see what you're saying. It's but I always think it'd be nice. Like as an app developer, I don't really like to have ads in my application. I would like that everybody likes it enough that they would pay a bit, and then they can have like the user experience that I want them to have, and not always have ads. And I thought about giving away like we at one point we had rewarded ads which will add new features. So if you like watched a video or something, it would give you like one of the in-app purchases for free. But I had to make sure I remove ads from that, because that would be like removing the whole revenue stream there. White Shark says, hey Eric, thank you for the awesome videos. How do you know that you are a real developer? Because people pay me to do it, I guess. I can code, but when you see other people's complex source code, I don't consider myself a dev. There's always going to be people who are going to be better software developers than you, right? And they should not be intimidating to you. They should make you want to be better. Sometimes, especially when you're starting out, you see somebody's complex code and you think they're just making it more complicated than it should be, until you understand the reasons why they're doing it. So like decoupling, decoupling or injection, was it dependency injection? That's something that if you don't understand why you would do it, like for testability, you don't see why it's done that way, right? You're just always, everything goes from, or even functions. Like when you're first starting out, you don't understand why you would use a function. Like if I'm not going to reuse this, why put it in a function? But it makes the code cleaner. It's you know, it's just it makes it more modular. You can reuse that function someplace else. You know, it's etc. 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 It's easier to debug. Right, but when you're starting out, when you're just starting out, I mean, I remember hiring a guy, and I thought I would train him to be a developer, and I gave him some courses and stuff, and he wrote like his first app after like 4 weeks of taking this Corona course, and everything was just like one bit, like there were no functions. And when I tried to explain to him why you should put things in functions, he didn't understand. He says, "But it's working." I said, "Yeah, but it looks like vomit. The code looks like vomit," and he thought I was just being, you know, perfectionist or whatever. It's like, no, seriously, this is terrible. But it was my fault for not explaining things better. Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, there definitely is a drop in downloads lately, and I don't know. I don't know if it's been somebody talks about a change in the search algorithms, and I've seen that. Let's see. Rodrigo says, today I was watching an Ionic tutorial and your Ionic video was on the recommended list. I know, it's terrible. I mean, I don't mean to, because like, I still think Ionic's a good framework, but there's certain shortcomings in it. And, but like I've done a lot of Ionic development, and I've been like a huge fan. Well, I'm not gonna talk about Ionic anymore, because that keeps getting me in trouble. Let's see. Rodrigo says, Eric, about the silent fall, HTTP Sentry.io, there are some awesome, that we have good free plan. Let's see. The awesome fall, let's see. Rodrigo's sharing me with the Sentry stuff. I don't know what this is. Sentry, stop hoping your users will report errors. Open source error tracking that helps developers monitor and fix crashes in real time. Iterate. Oh, this is for, is this the one for WebView type stuff? Or is this like, okay, cool. Sentry. Yeah, that would be something cool. But it's still, it's a third-party service, right? I mean, it's something you have to pay for, or depending on scalability. Let's see. All right, we're gonna have to wrap things up here really quick. So let's see. Josh says show uninstalls. Yeah, the uninstalls, Josh. Or I mean, we've talked about user retention before. I do not have long user retention. My uninstalls are still pretty high. My VIP says, Eric, change that "Hey Google" to "Google have us." What does that mean? Oh, shut up! Every time I can't say this because the speaker keeps going off. CH Development says, I'm not all that fond of being in front of camera, so I decided a podcast can work just as well. I use a podcast to document my development. Cool. What's the URL, CH Development, if we can have a look? I thought about doing a podcast too. I thought that's the reason I bought this microphone originally. Well, the predecessor, the white one I used to have. So I thought, I want to do a podcast. And in the end, I never did. Let's see. Pithv says, can you give any insight about subscriptions and one-time unlock in-app purchases? In my new app, 90% of people went for the costlier one-time purchase. So this is something that I think I've never done any subscriptions. I've always had the non-managed in-app purchases. So they can restore those purchases, and I thought about doing the subscriptions. And it seems to me subscriptions only really work to get that second payment through before people say, oh, I forgot I had that, and then they cancel it immediately. So I'm always getting invoices or receipts for things, and then, oh, your whatever thing has been renewed. I'm like, oh, cancel, refund, if I can. So, but it's always that. It just seems like that's the whole reason for subscriptions for a lot of applications is just getting that second one through. But let's see. Oh, John. Yeah, John, it's a paid API. Cool. Let's see. Tower in the background. Oh, okay, cool. So there's other things here. Christopher says, hey, Eric, what would you charge as a flat fee for building an iOS app for a client? I wouldn't do a flat fee. On Upwork, it looks like people will charge $200, and I don't know how they make a living that way. Yeah, because you don't know what's going to change. I mean, if you had a template, right? Like if you had something where I would say, I'm going to get some code from Chupa Mobile and I'll release an app. Like I've actually have people contact me saying, I need an app that makes money. That's all they say. Like it doesn't say what it should do or anything like that. And I'm like, I can't help you, right? But if I wanted to, like if I was unscrupulous, I suppose I could say, oh, we could release an app for £200, right? And then I could just reskin some application and release it, and that makes that requirement. But then it's it's not what they want. I mean, it might be what they want, but like you should never just get an app just for having an app's sake. You have to think about like how it's going to be different, how it's going to be unique. You see, let's see, we've got Rifat. Hey, Eric Rocks. Thanks, Rifat. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming, Rifat. I know we're changing the format here, trying some new things, and I want to make the videos a bit better, and I appreciate that, Rifat. I really respect your opinion on that. I mean, I respect your opinion just in general. Biswajit says, hi, Eric. I updated my game Dark Space Legends in the Play Store. I'm working on an ASO, updating screenshots of promo video. Thanks. Cool. Do you want us to have a look at it? Potionware says, can you check out my Melt Valuelator on Google Play? Melt Valuelator. Okay, let's have a look at that. We're going to look at this app for Potionware. Let me just bring it up on the screen first. All right, cool. So Melt Valuelator. potionware. Cool. Cool. 19 reviews. You've got the we got the video here. Evaluate different precious metal purities simply by changing a setting. And I think, oh, there we go. There's the music. Potionware. Easily find vegetable. Is this an app template? I mean a video template. Let's see. You got AdMob Smart Test banner. You don't need to. Let's see. I think you should remove this. I know it's the video. It's not easy to do, but like, here's a good question. All right, here's a good question. And I've done this before, where when I released my first app, I released it with ads on the screenshot, and then I realized this an in-app purchase you could remove ads. I released the screenshots without the ads in them because nobody's gonna like. That's not something that they'll definitely want to do it. And I'll be interested what you guys do, because I don't like now when I do screenshots. I always do screenshots of the pro version in both, as long as the interface hasn't changed. Just one has ads, one doesn't. So I always just do the one without ads because that's not something that you're really necessarily going to want to see. So let's go. And even in these screenshots over here, you don't have the ads. Oh no, you do actually. You have the ad placements. And when they're making that decision, I think that's something they're not necessarily going to want to have a look at. So we've got melt value later. Melt value later. So I think this is what we talked about, the ASO potionware. I think you should have something more there. So it's precious metals value later. I think this could be formerly known as precious metals value later. So I think here you can still have this in the subtitle here. So melt value later, precious metals. So metals value. So look here. So precious metals value. So you have all these special precious metals pricing, melt value later. So you're up there, but I mean you could incorporate some of these keywords into your title too, and also I would think the screenshots could have more in them. I'm just genuinely opposed to having ads in the screenshots, and I know it's possible that Apple will say it doesn't look the same and they reject it, and I can't remember if they've ever done that with me. I don't think they ever have, but I mean right now you have the test ads in there, and I just think it you can have more there. You can even use some stock images and stuff there. So I mean, what do the rest of you guys there think? Provide you a potion where your some of your feedback there. Let's see, and see apps low cost. Hello, bro. Hey, greetings from Colombia. What are the stores to upload apps in China? There are loads of stores to upload apps in China. So like for a while we were using the Samsung App Store, and that was doing well in China. So it was like, and then Google, and then iOS was doing well in China too. Where was that coming through? Let's see. Let's see. It's Eric go. So yeah, Rodrigo's saying over here that we should wrap things up. But yeah, so I think there are loads. Now the problem with doing the app stores in China is there's so many. There's a few that are really big, but there's so many different ones. So we use can't remember what it was, 360. We use Tencent. We use China Mobile. We use a few different ones, and there's like a lot out there. It's not like there's a Google Play equivalent that I know of. So and that's one of the things that one of the things to keep in mind there. So Betty Haynes says, from what I understand, Corona has changed its licensing recently to be ineffective open source. Would this put you off using Corona? I don't know, I don't know what ineffective open source is, but it is I mean, one of my fears is that because we have so much stuff out there in Corona, it's using Lua. It's we're at the point now where the only person who knows how this code works now that's still on the team is me. So there's that. We have done a Corona application just last month where I did it on my own. But that is the fear, I think, is everything's in that basket. And for a while, that's what was paying to do that. I mean, paying for that service. And now they have all these things, and I think it would put me off. The nice thing about having, and for me as a developer, if something was open source or closed source, that never really bothered me. But as a business owner, if you put an app on the App Store and something is closed source and that company could go out of business, at least they could release it as an open source thing. If it's open source, you know that somebody's going to take over that project, and that's always been the way that I thought about it. Even when Parse when Facebook closed Parse, they released it as an open source thing, so you could still run it, but there's no guarantee of that. So if Corona went out of business, I was always afraid that they would, what are we going to do? We've got all this stuff that we'd have to rewrite it. We could reuse the image assets, but everything else would have to be rewritten again. And I mean, that's just that's all I know about it. I haven't really thought about it, and I don't know what ineffective open source means, but I do think it's probably not proper open source. And to be honest with you, Betty, I've hardly looked at the Corona blog in like ages, right? Every so often I seriously look to see if it's still alive, right? It's like if there's still a community, which is terrible because I was like really, like I used to watch Corona Geek every week, and I used to, read everything that came out and all the books that came out on it, but it just seems like there's not all that much lately, but there may be a whole other community out there that I'm just not aware of. Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind on this, so I need to go a bit quicker because I'm starving. CH Development says it's just my YouTube channel, CH Development. Okay, cool. Should we have a look at that? Should we have a look at it, CH Development? Let's have a look. We'll give you a shout out over here. Let's go over to CH Development YouTube. So for those of you guys who are, all right, let's see. Actually, I can't. Sorry, please talk amongst yourself while I type here. CH Development. YouTube channel. Oh, I can't find it. All right. So Making English Fun says, I think I need to work on my ad placement frequency. I only have them on the back buttons. 15 apps, 5 that are half good, and about $9 a day. That was like, I told this story before. I've talked about everything before, but like when I had like a consultation with AdMob where it was like I was looking through my spam folder, which I don't do enough because it's scary. But I was looking at my spam folder and I saw that someone at AdMob had sent me like a thing saying they'll give me a consultation. You could book it. So I did it, and I got this call with one of the people who worked at AdMob, and they go, okay, I can see that you don't have any interstitial ads. And I said, I do. It's just once every 4th time the app is open, then I'll show an interstitial because I don't want to annoy the users. And he said, well, most users do it, like most developers do it every time. So I was like, just that, it more than tripled my revenue. I should say quadrupled my revenue, but it didn't. It did triple my revenue. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about, people expect ads to be in the application, so it wasn't like this whole fear about annoying the users was something that I had to let go of, right? Some people just aren't going to like it. Some people are going to appreciate the fact that it's an app that they got for free, and they understand that it has to have ads in it. But some applications are just all they are is ads, so it's that balance, right? And one of the nice things, so you could use. One of the nice things about AdMob is that you can set the frequency in AdMob. So it's like I want each user to see an interstitial ad only once every minute, or twice a minute, or something like that. Let's see. Da says, will you publish the 2018 income? I did a video about my ad income, or all of my income for 2018. It's check like the first couple weeks of January. I did a video on that. yeah, I mean, I don't want to do it too granular, because if I talk about which apps did what, then I guess so many copycats and stuff. But I have been. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like more than I would have made if I was a permanent employee someplace. Which is cool, because that was work that I didn't do. It was like an ad or apps that have been produced, despite the fact that I'm always busy. None of that revenue came from the busy client work. It was just app revenue. CH Development says other countries can afford to charge that much for their app. App dev, seeing $200 could be a lot in other countries. Yeah, I think so too. Does anyone know what the app stores in China upload apps? Yeah, Huawei is China based. Let's see. Donaldo Azamaj. Is everybody still here? We got 40 people on the call at the moment. I should be looking at if anybody's watching from Facebook. Is anybody watching from Facebook? Nobody's watching from Facebook. But we're trying it anyway. Next time, maybe somebody watch Facebook. Let's see. Donaldo says, "Hi, Overpass. Can you check my game and give me your opinion, please?" So this is Donaldo's game. It's called. So if anybody, again, it's not just my feedback. It's, I mean, everybody. If you could help out, this is called Pop the Lock. Pop the Lock. Pop the Lock. It's like a 80s dance, pre-breakdancing, around the same time as breakdancing. Pop the Lock, new version. Let's see, pop the lock game, tap to play. Okay, so all right, let's go through this. Pop the Lock is a simple and fun game to play. One of the funniest, free, popular games available. You have a lot of keywords in there, but none of them are very specific, I think. So we got Pop the Lock, new ones. We've got the video. Please be strummy guitar music. Please be strummy guitar music. Oh no, I can't hear it. Let's see. Okay. This would be a good one for like phone finger, because it's difficult to see where it's like, it's difficult to see from that video how it's actually played, at least in my opinion. Like here we say tap to play. The screenshots could have more in it, like even if you use some stock images there. We've got one review, which is cool. It was released on, oh wait, hang on a second. It was released on the 29th of November, and you have 100+ installs. So let's have a, am I looking at the right one? Pop the Lock. Okay, so what could we do to improve this one? What would somebody be searching on to do it? Would it be puzzle? Like what if you were, like, for the rest of you guys as users, what would you be searching on that you think that would be what you'd want to do? If I do lock game, so I'm not sure how frequent this is. Pop the Lock is, oh, hang on a second. Pop the Lock. Okay, so already I think it's already a game with that name. There's actually quite a few. Is that like a common thing? And then we got this. So this is the fourth one. So if I was searching for the name specifically, I'll get that. This one has new in 2018. Should be updated. Best moments. I mean, okay, so there's so many icons here that look the same. And I'm wondering if one of them is copying the other, or is it just like a game that I've never heard of? But I know what. I think everyone else is gonna wait, because this is like, for all I know, Jay Matthews says the icon looks a bit busy, and I agree with that. I think it's difficult to see what it is. But all these other ones, I mean, these look the same. These two have the same color schemes and everything, and this has the same color too. I think it's difficult to say. I think you have to think about what people will be searching for. If Pop the Lock is already a name that's used, you have to think about how are people going to just differentiate that from other ones. I mean, even if it really took off, you would have a trouble with people finding one of the other apps and thinking it's yours. See, oh, Christina Poupard is watching on Facebook. Ooh, my little sister. See, where did I leave off? Where did I leave off on the chat here? John says any good software to create app videos for Play Store. I don't know if there is. There's one thing about app videos. I used to have like when I was in a mastermind group, somebody started his business on app videos. So they'll do app video for you. And I swear every single one of them looked the same. It was almost looked like there was a strummy guitar music, and then some text. The app flies in one screenshot, another flies in another screenshot, another one flies in another screenshot. There was nothing unique about it at all. We did our EarSpy one where we did it, where my designer did it, and it took like 2 weeks, and it was pretty expensive to do because it was completely custom. But I would think that just having something with, and then I've done the other ones on my own where I really just ran it in a simulator using phone finger to simulate the tapping of it, and I would just record the screen and I would edit it together and put some music into it. So, and I would use music from the application itself. So, and then I would have it was almost like having just the screenshots, but having it more dynamic. And I use a Camtasia for that one when I did it, John. So, but that's not necessarily like an out of the box type of thing. Let's see. Josh says, is it expensive to publish apps to China, or are there free options? Yeah, I mean, you should be able to do it for free, but you have to, I mean, I've done it where I've paid a company to do it, but that was just because they could read the Chinese, they could do everything. I mean, like, you don't, it's like, I think it's free to get into all of them. Like, it's free to publish to Amazon App Store. Let's see. So, Donaldo, we looked at your game there. Julius, hey, how's it going? Sergio Coronado, hey. Sergio says, you inspired me. I made my first app for iOS. Thanks for the vids. Hey, thanks for watching. And Christina says hello. There is Christina. Yeah. Abhai Paptani says, there were comments from Facebook, but you ignored them. I'm working on it. I'm getting through them all. All right, thanks, Abhai. Yeah, some of the ones that came from Facebook are from Neil. Neil's been posting from pretty much everywhere. So it's like he keeps popping up different places. Pop the lock, just my opinion, but the icon looks a bit busy. Yep, I think so too. Making English fun. Yeah, Google offered me a consultation and I accepted, and then they never got in touch again. Chase up on that, because every time I've had consultations on AdMob, which was really helpful. I've had consultations on YouTube, which was also very helpful. And sometimes they'll tell you things you already know, but it's kind of just nice to have somebody look things over specifically for you. And because they talk to all kinds of different other app developers, they're able to give you like a bit of like just, I mean, they're able to look at it specifically, your application, and make some adjustments or make some recommendations. Let's see. BizYG says, anyone made instant games on Play Store? I haven't. Let's see. Abhay Paptani says, can we make a video from Adobe After Effects? Yeah, you could. I mean, like Adobe After Effects would be like, I mean, that'd be hard to learn. I mean, if you just want like one app video, and so I either use Premiere Pro, Camtasia, or Final Cut Pro for video editing, and you know, and I've had a look at After Effects, but I've never really learned it. Let's see. Yup Bright says, hey Eric, can you share my app link for you to check my app? Oh, where's it go? Can you share your feedback? Yeah, sure. Yup Bright, I seem to have lost the link there. Could you send it again? Prithvi says, yes, you can create it. I made this video in After Effects, so let's have a look. This is Prithvi's, I think, app video. Oh. This, see, I like this. That's a good video. I pretty good. That's good music too. Hang on a second. This is better than the video we saw on Google Play. Why is that? Why are you using a different video on Google Play? No, actually, no. There's something else. So if anybody needs an app video, talk to Privthy. He can help you out there. Hope you don't mind me saying that. I'm sure for a fee. See, Ada Max says, I've not published to iPhone before. Do you have to pay an annual subscription to Apple or a one-off like Google? It's an annual, so it's like $99 a year. Yeah, unlike Google where it's one-off, you have to do it every year. CH Development says Pexels has free stock video clips. I use them with some YouTube text, just pop up the screenshots and bam. Cool. Josh says, yo Eric, I just want to say that I respect that you take the time for every single person watching. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, sorry it's taking so long to go through these live streams sometimes. But again, the live streams, you know what? I thought about moving the live streams to Monday because I feel like the most energetic after the live streams than I do. Like during the weeks, like if I had a bad week, but it's always fun to do this. Julia says, I started making websites with HTML and now I want to make apps. How do you start with that? I hope you could help me. So Julius, if you're an HTML developer, you might want to look at using something like Ionic or something that's Cordova based. Ionic, especially Ionic 1, was more HTML. Like if you're good with Angular, especially Angular 2, then the later versions of Ionic could. But at least that'll get you started. But I think just being an HTML developer will give you, like, you're thinking about layouts and things like that. I think you should do fine. And when you say when you do websites with HTML, if you do a lot of JavaScript, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it too. Let's see. Are we okay? So just a message from Neil there. Is everything okay? It's not over yet. I fell asleep watching. Okay, so people are complaining on. So we have a Slack channel within the team, and they're saying they're falling asleep. This is what I deal with. This is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Rassi says, I made an educational app for my country, Kenya. Spent a couple of months on it, but didn't do well. Disappointing at times. So Rassi, let's have a look at it. So this is Rassi's application. Let's go here to share the screen again. Oh, wait, where was it? Rassi's application. Open in a new tab. Here we go. So it's called KCPE Kalamu. Let's see, we got a video. Again, same strummy guitar music. App flies in. Renderforest.com. Is that like its service? This might be something that answers the question for it. Strumming guitar music and whistling. It's just this thing. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. The chap. Yeah. So, KCP. So I think KCPE Kalamu is a best primary examination e-learning platform, modern interactive way of engaging with primary school pupils with previous KCPE examinations and other puzzles. So KCPE, I'm not sure what that is, but it must be. So we've got test yourself with past papers from all subjects. Are you a mathematician? Cool. So I mean, I think if we look at KCPE, is that something that people would be searching for? I mean, and what does KCPE stand for? Because I mean, just by having the definition, like the whatever, I mean, assuming it's yeah, sure, it's an acronym, right? So if you put that in there, at least whatever keywords, if somebody's searching for the actual thing, then they might, KCPE Kalamu, so you're ranking 4th for that. But if people aren't searching for that, let's take a look at the top KCPE application and see what they're doing. Choose from over 100 pages, pay with Pisa, take an exam. KCBE. Choose, like, I mean, so this one has got, how have they done? They've got 45 reviews, 1,000 plus installs. So it could just be the topic. So, I mean, how are you going to get this in front of people? I mean, if the top one's only got 1,000 and you've got 100 plus, then I think it's how do you get it in front of people. And in terms of the icon, I think the icon could be a bit more, like, make more use of the space. But again, if it's, it'd be interesting to see your, that would be interesting to see how you're doing in terms of, like, the acquisition report. So let's see, go back to over third, and where are we now? Yep, Bright says, okay, let's take a look at another app here. It says, yep, Brights. And we're going to have to, so let's say no more questions after Aiden Mac. What do you think of Dart? So just because it's getting late. Let's see. We're looking at, whose is this again? So this is Yup Bright's application called Radio USA. Radio USA, Bitcast Online News Talk FM. It looks really cool. Let's see. Hang on a second. Why is the screenshot? Why are the screenshots so small? What? That's what I mean. You might want to do some larger screenshots. So most popular stations and recommendation radio stations from international stations. Search and download stations from all over the world. Let's have some fun with us. And then we got 10-inch tablet sports. Popular stations on recommended. I think the English just needs a bit of work on this, and I don't know if that's your primary market. But some of the, like, popular stations on recommended. It's not grammatically correct, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It all depends. If people are finding it, then that's a good thing. So and the little things like in the screenshot, I think you should have a background. It's good that you have the stock image background. I like the stock image background, but I would think that you just can't see the white against this. So if you had like a little, like I say, div, if you just had like a little rectangle behind it, so that so it stands out a bit more. And it was released on the 31st of March, 50 plus installs. So yeah, I like the icon. Oh, Radio USA. So you have different ones. This is one that was like, if you did this on Apple Store, they would probably reject it because they would say because the icons all look the same. But because I've done that before, where I've had all the icons look the same, just kept re-releasing the same one in different versions, and on Apple I got rejected. And I think that's one of the things, you never know about the repetitive content policy if that'll get you there or not either. And let's see, we got Julius. John Mullahan says, one of your videos mentioned localizing Play Store listings. I use Google Sheets translation technique, and I'm seeing a big jump in installs today, according to Fabric. Awesome. So you use the Google Sheets one. That was, yeah, like it's good for search, but like it's probably really bad translations. There's probably not really good translations, but if you're seeing it, like if you're going to experiment rather than spend all the money on it, if you did a Google Sheets thing and just sort of try it out, then you could do that, and then you can see if it does work. Like, let's say you localize using Google Translate into Russian, and then all of a sudden it was doing really well in Russia. Then at that point, I'd say I would go hire like a translator, not someone expensive, just someone. Go on Upwork, say $5-10. I want this description translated properly in Russian. But yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Making English Fun says, I heard from Huawei they're allowing indie developers in their store from June. I don't know if that's still the case. See, I haven't even done anything with Huawei, but I guess maybe because they haven't been letting indie developers in. Let's see. Sergio says, is it possible to have feedback on this app? It's called Font Kitty. Font Kitty? That's an interesting name. All right, we have to have a look at this. I just have to see what a Font Kitty looks like. Let's see. This is for Sergio. Sergio Coronado. Font Kitty. Let's see. So Sergio, I'm typing in font kitty. I assume we're looking at Google Play, right? Let's make sure we're looking at the right one. Let's see. Font Kitty. Yeah, Sergio, I'm not sure if I'm looking. Font Kitty. Sorry. I nearly swore there saying that 10 times real fast. Font Kitty. Yeah, I shouldn't have to put in quotes. It's one word. Font Kitty. I can't find it, Sergio. Unless I'm looking, unless it's an iOS app. Let's go back to. Let's see. Make English sense. For reference, Eric and others, if you haven't put stuff on Huawei Store, you can now, they said, if you're a registered business. Some hoops to jump through. It's China. Probably. Josh Adams says, not a big fan of the brown kind of blind color. So that's the KCPE thing. Let's see. Ada Max says, what do you think of Dart? Joking. Maybe you could create an Overpass wiki with the FAQ. You can refer people to the usual questions. I know. I keep thinking to do that. Jesse says, what do you think of Spotify complaining about Apple's 30% cut of subscriptions? I think everybody should be complaining about Spotify or Apple's 30% cut. And it's one of the things where when we have clients, I recommend, and it's a thing like if you could get away with it, have people go to another site to do the purchase, like subscription based, because if they go through Apple, then they have that 30% thing, and it is a huge cut. Let's see. Oh, so Yup Right says those screenshots are small because the large size of the screenshot requires $10. Anyway, thank you, Eric. No problem. Would it be possible for a single Josh Adams says, would it be possible for a single API endpoint to trigger a push notification? Again, I would imagine that this would be something like, if it were me, just off the top of my head, Josh, I would have like a cloud function in Firebase, or it doesn't have to be a cloud function. I mean, it could be like a server, but I mean, if you did it, so that would just would poll that API, and then that way, if it got something. So actually, no, wait, hang on a second. A single API endpoint to trigger push notification. Yeah, definitely. That's how chats work. You call an API, so you send the notification to them. It calls a push notification. So yeah, if you wrote the API, yes, it would. I was thinking about the RSS question we answered earlier. Hawk says, hi, Eric. Thanks for the session as usual. Got to go. It's getting late here. Night. Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. Josh Adams says, I'm not a developer and found a great developer on Upwork. Cool. Make English fun. Thanks for this evening. Have a great weekend. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for this, once again, very, very long live stream. We won't do this next week because it's Good Friday. I appreciate all you guys' patience in getting to all these questions. Hopefully, I've answered all of them. I try to go through and answer all of them. Thank you very much to Neil for still being around. So he said he'd be around to help out in case I lose track of things. It's one of the difficult things doing this on my own. And I really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. And I hope you have a great weekend. I won't see you on the daily video tomorrow. God, sounds so depressing. But I will do one for Wednesday. So we'll do the next video on Wednesday. And that is it. I will talk to you guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks very much. And I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.